Joel Meyerowitz was born in 1938 in the Bronx, New York City. Meyerowitz classifies himself as a street photographer. He said this passion was influenced from his environment growing up, and also the fact that capturing everyday life leads the viewer and the photographer down a road of questioning their surrounding world. He attempts to answer these questions by transforming human observation into photographs. This is clearly portrayed in a multitude of Joel's photographs. In the 60s, Meyerowitz worked with photographer Robert Frank. While working with Robert Frank, Meyerowitz was inspired by the fact that photographs could be captured in motion. From that moment forward, Meyerowitz dedicated his life to becoming a photographer. After starting his career as a photographer, Meyerowitz captured many photographs in black and white, as it was the norm at this time. This image comes from the Howard Greenberg Gallery located in New York, New York. This image was captured in Geneseo Garden, France in 1967. This picture aligns exactly with Meyerowitz's ideals, leading us to question the world surrounding us, as this man looks to be doing. This photograph fits under the category of interpretive, as viewers are led by the man's gaze to explore the surrounding environment. We capture almost a saddened sense from the image, as the man is captured from a sidelight holding an umbrella, and umbrellas can be a symbol of sorrow. He looks to be as if he is lost in a daydream that could be marvelous, or as this picture depicts, rather lonely. Our eyes initially draw to the man due to the bullseye composition, but eventually they begin to explore the rest of the environment, wandering in search for clues to these answers. Meyerowitz completely changes the feel from this picture by adding color. The flowers create a sense of beauty and wonder. The trees and blue sky capture a feeling of natural surroundings. While the man's face is neutral, we are still drawn to interpret this picture from a different angle. We are still initially investigative of the man due to the bullseye composition, but now we gather a sense that the man is thinking more in a daydream rather than a nightmare. This is significant in the world of photography because it displays how our minds can shift interpretations when color is added. It also shows that additional details can be drawn from colors. When color is added, we gather an increasing sense of beauty since we now see the whites, yellows, purples, and reds of the flowers. This picture by Meyerowitz was taken in Bulgaria in 1967. This photograph would be classified under the explanatory category for multiple purposes. First, this image can be visually dated. The car and the car wash system are old-fashioned. Second, the image depicts how cars used to be washed in the 60s and what the mechanisms that wash these cars look like. Finally, the image is angled in a way to depict social context, as we can see the owners of the car waiting for their vehicle and people in the shop watching the car go through the car wash. Joel clearly learned how to utilize the essence of motion in his imagery, as his picture depicts the car wash rollers cleaning the vehicle. Meyerowitz also captures a diffused light scene to take away from the viewer attempting to interpret the scene, and rather relaxing the mind to capture exactly what is happening to the subject. Meyerowitz was unlike most photographers during this time period. As seen in the previous pictures, Meyerowitz used color to bring out features and context in an image, so that the viewer could see and feel more of the surrounding world. By the 1970s, Meyerowitz was predominantly using color in his photographs and is now considered to be one of the pioneers of the use of color photography. Meyerowitz illustrated the significance of color photography in his book Cape Light, which was published in 1978. This picture was taken in Provincetown, Massachusetts in 1977. This picture is in Meyerowitz's Porch Series collection and was displayed in the International Center of Photography Museum. This photo can be categorized under aesthetically evaluative since viewers are drawn to consider how the mixture of colors, warm lighting, soft, grainy composition, and the peaceful background environment create a sense of beautiful serenity. In particular, the soft, grainy composition of this picture creates a sense of intentional relaxation due to the fact that we do not need to draw our attention to one area. Our eyes can easily guide from subject to background with no question of where we should be focused. Additionally, Meyerowitz captures the essence of strong blue and orange colors to create a sense of stability, happiness, tranquility, and creative stimulation. These photos are similar to the previous in their style, as they too fit in the aesthetically evaluative category and express the significance of utilizing color in photography. In each scene, Meyerowitz's imagination is brought to life, as the viewer can see through his eyes to witness the beautiful landscapes. Meyerowitz was taking photography to the next level by putting an artistic emphasis on his images. The side lighting on the porch images can be contrasted to the side lighting of the man in the gardens image that was shown previously. In the black and white, the side light created an eerie sense. In these images, the viewer can almost capture the sensation of warmth from the sun. Again, Meyerowitz utilizes the color of blue and orange in these images to establish beauty with an underlying sense of peace. In later years, Meyerowitz started to capture aesthetically evaluative portraits with similar styles as these images. For example, this image called Family. I wanted to include this final picture due to its ethically evaluative significance. Meyerowitz was the only photographer to have access to Ground Zero after 9/11 occurred. This photo is located in the World Trade Center archive. There was no information on date and title of this photo. Meyerowitz took this image from a higher perspective, not to belittle the problem, but rather to display the vast amount of destruction that occurred. The image was captured in diffused light so that the viewer's eyes would travel throughout the entirety of the image rather than a singular focal point. The diffused light established a sense of sorrow and despair and provides insight on the actuality of the horror of 9/11. Meyerowitz also captured images of the people working and searching through the devastation so that viewers can create a sense of connection with how much of an impact 9/11 had on their lives, the victims, and the rest of the world. Joel Meyerowitz fostered a revolution in the field of photography. Using color photography, Meyerowitz effectively achieved his goal of leading both himself as a photographer and the viewers of his work down a path of further questioning the surrounding world with an emphasis on beauty. In the images I provided, it was evident that Joel had the capability of using color photography to commendably capture images in multiple categories, including interpretive, aesthetically evaluative, explanatory, and ethically evaluative. Today we can see that Meyerowitz has made a substantial impact in photography since most photos on digital devices are initially captured in color. Meyerowitz's work will continue to inspire photographers and viewers to pay attention to their everyday lives and find ways to capture that colorful beauty in a moment that can last a lifetime.